Michael Patrick Shields is on the air.
Good morning, world.
Good morning, Michigan. We begin this morning with the huge winter storm blasting its way across the country has brought snow, high winds, ice, and freezing rain to an area stretching from New Mexico all the way to Maine and, of course, crossing Michigan here. Storm watches, warnings, advisories in more than 30 states, and blizzard warnings for Michigan. Some areas received more than 20 inches of snow. Chicago expecting 2 feet. Blowing snow and ice up to 1 inch thick on roadways, trees, and power lines, cutting power to thousands of people. Airports, in some cases, have been closed, complicating travel. Some of those people are going to the Super Bowl this week, and those plans have been scuttled in some cases. Massive snowfall totals expected across West Michigan. Once the so-called Groundhog's Day blizzard moves out of the area, the National Weather Service expects as much as 16 inches of snow on the ground by tonight, with the strong winds reducing visibility and causing snow drifts, too. The storm has forced dozens of school and business closings and long lines, too, at grocery stores. Residents stocked up on supplies to try to make it through the storm. The lower peninsula still getting slammed by snow as that blizzard hits Michigan, and Governor Snyder has activated the State Emergency Operations Center. The State House and Senate have canceled sessions for today and Thursday, and schools across the state closed down. Even Michigan State University, Eastern Michigan University, Wayne State University, Grand Valley State University, Kalamazoo College, and others. Very, very rare to shut down. They have shut down because more than a foot of snow could fall by the time the storm is done this afternoon. In Kent County, the Sheriff's Department has advised their deputies to use caution and stay off the roadways. Streets are dangerous. Sheriff's Lieutenant Ron Gates said even the main roads are impassable. The deputies have been available, but they've been advised to be on the roads only as needed. 2 county cruisers had to be pulled out after being stuck in heavy snow. So Ottawa County has more than 24 stuck or stranded motorists at the moment. It's tough going out there. And the question, of course, that everyone's asking as they wake up this morning is, how bad is it? How bad is it out there? 888-900-9966 is the number to call if you can get to us this morning and let us know how bad it is. Captain Kirk Squires, the owner of Central Michigan Graphics, I'm told has been up since 3 in the morning plowing and making his way around town. He gives us a report from the front lines. Good morning, Captain.
MPS, how you doing this morning? Boy, it is a winter storm out here. I'll tell you, if you don't have to go anywhere, don't get out. I got 4-wheel drive, obviously, on the plow truck here, and they've got a couple of the main arteries are clear. I was just on Okemos Road just a little bit ago, and that's a big boulevard. But trying to get out of the neighborhood, there's no way you're going to do it if you don't have 4-wheel drive, because what happens is these plows are moving all this snow off of the boulevards, and they're blocking all the entrances from the arteries coming in from the neighborhood. So there's like a 2-foot-high or 3-foot-high wall of snow to try to get through.
Oh, it's funny that you say that, because I spent the night here in the studio because I was worried I wouldn't be able to get to work. And I parked my Saturn Vue that I'm test driving for Cheryl Freeborough right in front of the studio. Everything was fine at 10 o'clock last night. And this morning I woke up, and it is virtually surrounded by a wall of snow from the plows going by. And Michigan Avenue is fine. It looks fine. You can drive right on it. But I don't think I'm going to be able to get that view out of that spot.
Well, we'll get over there later, and I'll plow some of that snow away, and we'll get a shovel for Amanda so she can start shoveling around the outside there.
Do you think you can bring that truck and plow the snow out from around it?
Absolutely.
All
no
right.
problem. I'll be out there before you get off the air.
Well, that'd be great. Captain Kirk will save us, and I'll reward you with, well, let's just say it'll be something to warm you up, and it comes in a glass. How's that?
All right. Sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm on Cedar right now. It's funny, some of the main streets are clear, but Cedar's a mess down by Green Lawn where the hospital is, and then you'll turn on a street like that, and that's clear. So, I think they're just picking and choosing what they're doing. I wouldn't go out if I didn't have to today.
Okay, well, ring us later if you once the people start trying to take to the roadways, if you're out, and give us a report, and I'll be looking forward to seeing that big plow rescuing the Saturn Vue from in front of the studio.
You got it, MPS. Have a good one.
Thank you. Captain Kirk Squires from Central Michigan Graphics. It's right here in the Lansing area. Leanne is in Grand Ledge ringing in this morning, too. How bad is it, Leanne?
Well, we got 1 to 2 foot drifts and on a rare occasion 4 foot drifts out on St. Joe Highway. I stopped at the overpass above 96, and while there are snow covered, there are snow plows out there, and it looks like they don't have the drifts that St. Joe Highway does.
Mm-hmm.
I am in four-wheel drive. I'm on my way in to take care of patients into Lansing, and that's what we have to do this morning. But I don't recommend travel on St. Joe Highway. It is not passable unless you have four-wheel drive and you got it on 4 high.
Wow, but no rain, nor sleet, nor hail, nor snow is going to keep you from your job, huh?
Well, I would say that if you have, a lot of people don't have access to a vehicle like I have, and I pay a lot of money for that, by the way. But I just feel that it's my duty to go in there and take care of patients, especially when other people can't get in.
Well, be as safe as you can, and when you get there, if you get a chance to ring us and tell us how the commute was, we'd sure appreciate it.
Well, I'm on my way. Like I said, I'm right now at Kreitz and St. Joe, and it looks like they have not plowed anywhere out here.
Oh, is anybody else on the road?
I see one vehicle ahead of me. It is a truck. I see another vehicle that just crossed the underpass here. It is a truck. Only trucks are out right now. I have not seen a regular, a passenger car.
All right, thank you.
And the only trucks that I see basically have plows on the front of them.
All right, there's a live report from the front lines. Thank you very much, and happy Groundhog Day. You too.
Bye-bye.
Leanne in Grand Ledge is out there this morning. Wouldn't be surprised if my wife, Dr. Christine, is running in this right now. Maybe we can give her a call and find out what her plan is. Normally at this hour, she's outside running, and nothing usually stops her. The blizzard slamming the state is causing problems in West Michigan. The state police sergeant, Tom Draves, is cautioning people against driving in this weather. Here's what he says.
If you come upon an accident scene, move over into the other lane to give the emergency workers room so that we don't get other officers, truck, or vehicles involved in additional collisions.
Now, there were school closings happening yesterday in anticipation. The Grand Rapids Public School spokesperson, John Hemholt, says they come up with the formula, the decision, by talking to public transport officials, cab drivers, and meteorologists before deciding to cancel school like they've done for today.
Are the roads safe and traversable where our buses can get through and the kids and the families can get to school? We're going to look at student safety and the students' education as a top priority in making this decision.
So as a result, there will be plenty of dropped reservations, depleted store shelves, canceled flights, and delays in garbage pickup because of the wintry wallop. And school districts closed, and you're going to have police, fire, and courts planning for something resembling business as usual. But, it may not end up being that way. Davenport University also closed this morning on this Groundhog Day. Ironically, you wouldn't mind if that groundhog surfaces and doesn't see his shadow. It's frosty weather in Puxatawney, Pennsylvania. Puxatawney Phil will come out from Gobbler's Knob in just over an hour from now. We'll have live coverage from Jefferson County in western Pennsylvania. This is the 125th time that the groundhog, Phil is what his name is, Puxatawney Phil. If he sees his shadow, winter will continue for another 6 weeks. If not, happy days. We're going to have a nice heat wave and a good St. Patrick's Day and all the rest. So 7:25 a.m. Eastern this morning, and we're monitoring what's going on at Gobbler's Knob. There's already a crowd there. There's entertainment going on, and we'll come to that in just a minute. But first, Mike Johnston, the vice president of Puxatawney's Inner Circle. Those are those guys in the top hats and tuxedos that pull the groundhog from his, it's like a tree stump with his name on it. And they say it's a part of a real civic pride.
It's important to our community. It's important to the region. Quite frankly, it's important to the state of Pennsylvania. And I'm very happy to be involved with it.
Happy this morning, but bundled up because it's not very nice weather there in Gobbler's Knob.
The forecast for Groundhog Day is about as ugly as it gets. So, but it's going to happen one way or the other. We can't change it, so we're just going to have to live with it.
Sounds like you really enjoy being part of that inner circle.
I think most members of the Inner Circle would tell you that it's quite an honor to be asked to to be long, and new members are chosen by the seated members.
What about the groundhog, though? Puxatawny Phil, what's he really like?
Phil gives us a national identity and gives us an opportunity to tell people how much we enjoy living where we live.
Well, good luck. Today's a fun morning, and we'll go live to Puxatawny, Pennsylvania. Live coverage of the groundhog this morning, and live coverage of your morning. The weather is the number one story of the day on both counts. It's Michael Patrick Shields at 18 after the hour. Well, there's a theme from Groundhog Day, and we'll move quickly because normally we have fun with John McMurray on Groundhog Day, one of the legendary weathercasters, forecasters, meteorologists in the state of Michigan. But he's got serious business today, so let's get to it. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning, Michael. That's my favorite pet, the groundhog.
Are you offended by the groundhog as a professional meteorologist, or do you like him?
Well, he's a colleague, and we go out, we try to find him, and then we roast him on St. Patrick's Day.
What a great idea, and a nice Irish stew. Well, how bad is it? That's the question people are wondering, I think, this morning as they wake up.
Well, this is really a big storm. They started yesterday way to the southwest, out across Oklahoma, stretching up into Kansas. The entire track moving from the southwest to the northeast put snow into the region. Now, really, we expected the snow to increase in tempo very late last night, which it did, and into the early morning hours. Some of the snowfall amounts, Clarkston across parts of Oakland County, they have 8.9 inches of snow, and really as much as 6-7 inches since midnight in around the Saginaw area. Closer towards Lansing, the snow accumulations anywhere from 4 to 6 inches. But with these strong northeast winds, measuring is very difficult.
I see.
We look for the gusty winds to hold for a good portion of the day.
Is West Michigan getting the worst of it? Oh, John must have had to be
Hello?
Yeah. Is West Michigan getting the worst of it?
Grand Rapids, over to Muskegon, they've had 6-7 inches of snow, and they'll see a little bit of a slackening of the storm as it moves, let's say, a little bit to the east of Toledo, and then off to the northeast. But the areas that will see the enhanced snow will be across the Thumb, Huron County, Bad Axe, right down into the shoreline of the Saginaw Bay and Bay County, Saginaw County, down to a little bit to the east of Lansing towards Flint. And that's going to occur right through the morning and even into the early parts of the afternoon. The blizzard warning remains in effect till the noon hour for, a good portion of southeast lower Michigan.
Did you sleep at the studio last night? Did you sleep at the studio last night? No, he's okay. John McMurray, 40 years on the air in Michigan, and in high demand this morning, no question about that, and we sure appreciate it. George is in Battle Creek at 888-900-9966, the number he called us on to give us a report from the front lines. George, how are things in Battle Creek?
Well, just north of town here out in southern Berry County. I just went out and did a measurement. It's about 5.5 to 6 inches on the flat without too much drifting, amazingly.
Yeah, that was one of the things. They said it would snow, but it would be blowing all over the place. And last night, too, there was lightning and thunder coming along with the snow. Isn't that unusual?
I didn't see that, but I'll take your word.
All right. So you're saying that, and you haven't been out yet, other than to measure the snow. You haven't gotten in the car or anything like that yet.
Well, my wife has a Saturn Vue, like you have parked there in front of the studio.
Yeah.
And I think she could drive out with that on all-wheel drive this morning without the neighbors gone by and plowed our private road.
Oh, good.
But she could drive out of our driveway.
Well, be safe, and thank you very much for the report. We always love hearing from George in Battle Creek at 27 minutes after the hour. Let's go live right now to live feed from Puxatawny, Pennsylvania.
Bigger than any Super Bowl in history.
Yeah.
You're here to witness it live in person. The big event will be coming. And also, in about 5 minutes, we have another spectacular event that if you've never been here before, you're not going to believe it. We need the temperature check here, Joe. Joe says it's 33.
33.
I think he's right. The ice has melted up here on the stage. We now have mud.
Now this next song that you're going to hear, we need audience. This is audience participation, and this is a must. Now you're going to hear the words "boom boom," and what you're going to say back is "out go the lights." Okay, so when you hear this song, it's "boom boom, out go the lights." I'll cue you. Let's hear it once. That was horrible, but wait.
Now, what you've got here is the Gobbler's Knob stage, and a crowd gathered around in coats and hats, and there's the tree stump on the stage that says Phil on it, and that's from where the Puxatawney Phil will emerge or be pulled out anyway in about an hour from right now. And lots of happy Groundhog Day hats. There's a big crowd with umbrellas and slickers. And entertainment's been going on for some time now there at Gobbler's Knob in Puxatawney. And they're all dancing and singing and building up to the big moment when the Inner Circle fellas in their top hats and tuxedos will come out, and we'll find out whether there's 6 more weeks of winter or not. And let's go live right now. Marlene Laylock is the executive director of the Puxatawney Chamber of Commerce. Congratulations and happy Groundhog Day.
Happy Groundhog Day to you, too.
What is the crowd like today? I know the weather was supposed to be terrible.
Yeah, it is a little diminished. We're not up to our usual standard, but it was rainy and freezing rain and windy, so you really can't blame anybody for staying away.
Yeah, this is one of my bucket list things. I really want to come there one day and be there live when it happens because it looks like so much fun. And in Michigan right now, we're having this horrific blizzard and snowstorm, and so we're counting on the Groundhog Puxatawney Phil this year.
Yeah, we haven't had a real bad winter here. We keep missing everything and, sending it your way and up to New York. But we're still with you. We want an early spring.
I noticed a man on the stage as I'm monitoring the feed here of Gobbler's Knob wearing a Steelers jersey. And the entire state of Pittsburgh is probably all ramped up not only for this big party, but the Super Bowl, too.
Yeah, it's like a whole week. You start with Groundhog Day and you finish with the Super Bowl. It's fantastic.
What time do the people start showing up at Gobbler's Knob for this event?
Well, they start running the buses that take you to Gobbler's Knob at 3 a.m., and people are ready to go up at 3 a.m.
Wow, and that's a big party, and they have entertainment. And is that how people pass the time from 3 until 7:30?
Yeah, you just watch what's going on the stage, wander around, maybe go to the bonfire. There's some, hot chocolate coffee and some food. And between 6 and 6:30, they have a really, really great fireworks show.
Oh, no kidding. Fireworks at 6 in the morning. That's pretty neat.
It's really different, and they look totally different than they do in the nighttime sky. I don't know why, but they do.
Wow. And the Inner Circle guys that we see that come out with the top hats and the tuxedos, and they read what Phil has to say, who are they?
Well, they are called the Inner Circle of the Punxsutawney Groundhog Club, and they are the 15 men that are charged with perpetuating the legend of Punxsutawney Phil.
Do you remember the last time that Puxatawney Phil predicted an early spring? It's been a while, hasn't it?
2007.
Yeah. So I think we're maybe due.
I think we are too. And as hard as it's raining, well, it was raining. I think it's actually stopped now. I don't know, how he could see a shadow unless the wind's blowing away the clouds. So.
Maybe that's a small tip, a little prediction. But we never know because nobody knows until Phil comes out, right?
Right, exactly. They don't know till he whispers, or doesn't really whisper, but the president has to interpret his groundhogese.
Mm-hmm. How, if somebody wants to come like me, it's on their bucket list, they want to do this, and I may come broadcast from there if I can sort it out. But in the case of the average person, can you get hotels? I imagine the area is sold out for this.
Well, here in Punxsutawney, we only have a little bit over 100 rooms because we're such a small town. But around the region, there are lots of hotel rooms. So if you want to stay in Punxsutawney, you pretty much have to call tomorrow, February 3rd, and reserve your room. But it's you could still get rooms in the region. Pretty close up to the day.
What's the nearest big city?
Pittsburgh.
How far is Puxatawney from Pittsburgh?
About 90 miles.
There are those fireworks you're talking about going off right now, and we're watching it thanks to groundhog.org is where you can see it all. Groundhog.org. I'll let you get out there and enjoy them. And thank you very much. And happy Groundhog Day. We'll see you in Puxatawny sometime.
Great. Nice. It'll be great to see you, and happy Groundhog Day to all your listeners.
Thank you very much. Marlene Lelock is there, and the fireworks are going at Gobbler's Knob as we wait less than an hour now till we get our prediction from Puxatawny Phil. And the fireworks are going in the background. You can hear them. We'll listen in for just a second here. Wintertime fireworks. The Detroit Tigers will not be bringing pitcher Jeremy Bonderman back in 2011. General Manager Dave Dombrowski says that he's not going to sign Bonderman for this season, and the team is not in the hunt for a designated hitter, Vladimir Guerrero. The Red Wings will visit the Senators in Ottawa for Detroit's first action after the All-Star break. That'll be tonight. Dan Cleary will return to the lineup for the Wings. He's been gone since December 22nd. He broke his ankle. Pistons back on the hard court tonight. They host the Charlotte Bobcats at the Palace. They've lost 3 in a row, and Ben Wallace questionable for the game tonight. Michigan State basketball plays at Iowa tonight. The Spartans snapped that 3-game skid with a win against Indiana in overtime Sunday in East Lansing. Michigan plays at Ohio State tomorrow night, and if they want to be giant killers, Ohio State is undefeated. Aren't they 22-0, something like that? Michigan's going to leave earlier for Columbus because of the severe weather. They are coming off back-to-back wins against the Spartans and Iowa, and Tom Izzo has said the loss to Michigan was the worst of the year because it's his rival, and Michigan isn't really that good, and that's what he said anyway. Players and coaches from the Let's Go Blue. Everybody wants Michigan to beat Ohio State. We'll get their shot tomorrow night. Players and coaches from the Steelers and the Packers were at Media Day yesterday at Cowboy Stadium, where it's very cold in the Dallas area, and Super Bowl 45. Pittsburgh is going to practice at TCU. Green Bay practices at an area high school. But the big chatter was the Ben Roethlisberger and Terry Bradshaw showdown. Terry Bradshaw has been very critical of Ben Roethlisberger, and they had a chance apparently to talk, and here's what Terry Bradshaw said.
Yesterday is yesterday, and I got his back, and I support him 100%. But if he screws up, I'm gonna say it. I'm not shy about telling you how I feel, and I let him know that. But I said, I got your back.
Yeah, well, we'll see about that. Here's Ben Roethlisberger.
Terry and I actually just sat down, and we did a nice little sit down. We had a talk, and I think Terry maybe spoke a little too soon without knowing some of the things that, the facts of things. And, he's entitled to his opinion. He works for the media, and that's what you guys are allowed to do.
All right. Well, thank you, Ben. We appreciate that. 35 minutes after the hour, back on Groundhog Day 2011, it's Michael Patrick Shields. Groundhog Day 2011 as a massive snowstorm has blanketed Michigan. Old Man Winter rearing his ugly head. And maybe we'll get some relief from the groundhog coming up shortly. Debbie Mancini is the family creativity expert for CBS and NBC's morning shows, the author of Color My World, and a groundhog aficionado from Pennsylvania. Good morning. Happy Groundhog Day to you.
Good morning, Michael. Thank you. Happy Groundhog Day to you as well.
There are fireworks in the morning sky right now over Gobbler's Knob there in Puxatawny, and you could probably tell us what are some of the other events that would surprise us about what goes on there on Groundhog Day?
Well, I think for me, the biggest surprise was not the Groundhog Day itself, but what goes on before it. They celebrate Groundhog Eve, and they celebrate it with many different celebrations, many different events, but there is actually a Groundhog Ball and banquet on Groundhog Eve. They have, yes, I mean, it's hysterical. My husband brought me and two of my close friends on my 40th birthday, which, by the way, is so long ago, I'm not going to tell you how long, but it was just such a great event because we went to the Groundhog Ball and banquet. We sat at the table with the inner circle, the guys with the top hats, the Grand Poobah himself.
Yeah.
because it is my birthday. I was treated like the mayor of the town. It was pretty amazing. The guy that was the entertainment for the evening happened to be a local radio personality in Punxsutawney, and could have been an identical twin to Bill Murray, of all people, because, of course, the Groundhog Day movie, right?
Yeah.
And, it was pretty funny. He was very entertaining, not a shy bone in his body, and just an entire evening filled with fun, funky, silly stuff, which is all about me, you know?
Yeah, you got to have a sense of humor in the wintertime just to get through it all, right? And to have a party like this. And think of it, in Pennsylvania, you got Groundhog's Day and the Super Bowl. I mean, you're partying all week.
We are, all week, all for 2 weeks.
What do they do with the groundhog for the rest of the year?
He's at the Groundhog Zoo.
Oh, so could you actually go and see him anytime you go to Punxsutawney?
Yes, you can. They have him in this little cozy spot in the world with a glass, viewing window that you can see him in. And they have groundhog everything. I've got to tell you, my friends are so generous, and they're running out of groundhog paraphernalia to buy for me. I have just about every little, knick-knack that you can imagine, every stuffed animal. I have a groundhog jacket. Of course, it's not made of groundhog fur, by the way. I've got to say that.
Thank you. That would be scary.
Yes. I think I've heard just about every groundhog joke you can tell, but one of the most popular ones I think I can share with you and your listeners is, why did the chicken cross the road?
Why?
To show the groundhog it can be done.
Now, he's a
friends with sick sense of humor. They call me roadkill. It's just a fun day for a birthday. What can I say?
He's a big, old, mangy sort of character, though, isn't he, Punxsutawney Phil? He's heavy.
He is. He's rather chubby and chunky, so he makes me feel good about myself.
And
he can be rather ornery. I know I've seen, the Grand Poobah pull him out of his little burrow and kiss him on the nose. Now, I kissed the groundhog statue. I refused to even try to kiss the real one.
Yeah.
Although I do have pictures of me on my birthday up at the Gobbler's Knob on stage, right at the red carpet where they pulled Phil out, wearing the Grand Poobah's hat. They actually, I got to say, Michael, I had 35,000 people sing happy birthday to me. I don't know if you can top that or not, but that was a pretty wonderful moment.
Wow. Well, we've got 12 radio stations across the state of Michigan, one TV station now, and we'll send you a collective happy birthday and a collective happy Groundhog's Day. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, and you like the movie Groundhog Day?
I have to tell you, I fell asleep the first time I watched it.
Oh.
I did. I thought, oh my goodness, I don't know if I can tell anybody this. And then, of course, I thought it was so funny because I'm just so quirky that I just have to tell everybody. So I rented it again way back when, and I forced myself to stay awake and watch it. And I have to say, it does not compare to the real thing. You just got to go.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's on my bucket list, definitely, to get to
Awesome.
Punxsutawney. If we do, we'll let you know. We'll meet you in person. And in the meantime, you can get Color My World wherever books are sold.
Absolutely. It's available at all bookstores, Borders, Barnes & Noble. It's on Amazon.com. Ready to launch my next one, which is a CD for younger kids, the ABCs and Logistics of Reading a Word. Doing a Mama Genuity webinar, 3-part webinar coming up at the end of this month with a very dynamic imaginator from the West Coast. We are working with moms and dads that work and have to be creative in their family life and their business. So you can log on to my website and go to Where in the World is Debbie and take a look at that. And my website is colormyworld.info. So I hope to make lots and lots of new Color My World friends over my groundhog what commonality there?
Well, you got colorful fireworks going off right now, too, in Punxsutawney, and we'll play this song out for you. This is the Groundhog Day. You remember every time the clock radio would go off for Bill Murray, and it would have I Got You, Babe playing, and there were like 100 times he had to wake up and live the same Groundhog Day over and over and over. That'd be pretty good for Debbie because it's her birthday. Michael Patrick Shields.
I got you, babe.
Happy Groundhog Day 2011. This is a Wildcat Wednesday brought to you by Northern Michigan University, located in Michigan's spectacular Upper Peninsula, founded in 1899, a dynamic four-year public coeducational university with a population of 9,400 undergraduate and graduate students. It's the UP's largest university, known for safe, clean, friendly, and natural environment in the beautiful city of Marquette along the shores of Lake Superior. And we are going to be broadcasting, it looks like, from the UP 200 in February in the Marquette area there at the Landmark Hotel on Northern Michigan University. It's a dog sled race, I'm told, that takes place. And they go around 200 times, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's our first live broadcast from Marquette. And if you're watching on Fox 47, you can see the hat I'm wearing today. It's a very old-fashioned Northern Michigan-style hat, and it's made in the Upper Peninsula. And you don't see too many of them, but if you go online, it's called a Stormy Cromer. Stormy Cromer is the name of the hat. You can get it in red and green, and it's right out of the UP. So when we go broadcast from the UP 200, I will be sure to wear my Stormy Cromer. Speaking of groundhogs and the weather, Flint has snow right now, temperature of 18. Jackson, it's 18 and light snow. In Lansing, they have snow and it's 18 degrees. Midland is snow and 21 degrees. Benton Harbor, 19. Battle Creek, 17. Visibilities are very low in most of these cities. Holland has fog and is 19 degrees. Grand Rapids, snow, 20 degrees. 19 in Kalamazoo, 19 in Mount Pleasant, where their light snow is falling. And Muskegon has heavy, heavy snow, 18 degrees there. Cloudy only in Gaylord, a temperature of 12. In Harbor Springs, it's cloudy as well, 16. Traverse City, they're getting snow, though, and it's 16 degrees. So that's your official weather report from, the meteorologists. The biggest weather forecaster of all, though, today is Puxatawney Phil, the groundhog. Let's go live to Puxatawney right now and listen into what's happening there in Gobbler's Knob.
Fine judge of beer. What a wonderful groundhog, and I appreciate him bringing us all together. Thank you.
He's one of the Inner Circle members in a top hat.
Come back anytime.
And they're all on the stage in front of the stump that the groundhog is in, and it says Puxatawney, Pennsylvania, weather capital of the world. And another man now at the microphone, as there are a whole bunch of guys in tuxedos and top hats, the Inner Circle, and we're about, 25 minutes away from the actual prognostication when they will pull the groundhog out of that stump there. I got a nice letter yesterday from William Potter. He had me speak at the Irish American Club of Mid-Michigan. And he says, "Hi, Michael, just finished reading your new book, Invite Yourself to the Party, and enjoyed it immensely. You're a modern-day Dale Carnegie. Your unique style and approach is humorously entertaining and enlightening, and with the right intense promotion, it could be a national bestseller. And that's awfully nice of you, Mr. Potter. Thank you very much. It was fun to speak to the club there at Dublin Square. And Dale Carnegie, I don't know about that. It's called Invite Yourself to the Party, and it doesn't take anything seriously. It's a lighthearted book, and you can get it at Dusty's Cellar. You can get it at Schuler's in Eastwood in East Lansing. You can get it right here at our Gillespie Group storefront studio on the Avenue of Michigan in the coffee house next door, and at inviteyourselftotheparty.com. Also, we will have them in Grand Rapids tomorrow. We'll be broadcasting from the Michigan International Auto Show at DeVos Place. So if you want to come into DeVos Place, we'll have copies there, and I'll sign them for you if you like. Lance Casarati is with us. He's in high demand this morning because he's a solution architect for CDW, the technology solutions provider that put together Texas Stadium. And for those of us who haven't been there, Lance, what are the most dazzling aspects of the venue at which they'll hold the Super Bowl this weekend?
Yes, it is, Michael. Thank you for having me. It's very interesting how we got brought into this and the relationship that we have with the Dallas Cowboys. They asked us to help them design a stadium that would be state-of-the-art and to future-proof it as much as possible. So the Cowboys had us down, and we went through the challenges of the existing stadium that was built back in 1969 and designed a solution that would meet their requirements as far as the data center powering all the lights and the HVAC and the security system. And so pretty much everything that runs in that data center is powered by in the stadium. It runs through the data center.
Yeah, and people like to talk about the gigantic TV screen that hovers over the stadium. And one of the neat things, I think, is the way the players come onto the field. They essentially walk through what looks like to be a nightclub or restaurant or bar, but through like a glass wall on each side, so people can be right there next to the players as they head out onto the field.
That is absolutely correct. And all the technology in there is powered by designs that CDW helped the Cowboys with.
Well,
the screen is 72 feet tall by 160 feet long and is the longest, largest HD screen in the world.
Well, congratulations. Even with the cold weather we understand in Dallas, it'll be a hot Super Bowl thanks to all the technology from CDW and Lance Casarati, who helped put it all together there in the Cowboy Stadium. When we get back, we'd love to get your calls from wherever you are. We want a road report from West Michigan, from Lansing, from Saginaw, from Benton Harbor. What is it like right now? How bad is it after last night's snow? 888-900-9966, and we will have live coverage of the groundhog in 25 minutes. But call us at 888-900-9966 and let us know what the roads are like, if you would, please. Happy Groundhog Day. It's Michael Patrick Shields.
Keep it up. Michael Patrick Shields is on the air.
Good morning, world.
Good morning, Michigan. If you're like me and like the rest of us, you got up this morning and went straight to the window to see, did it happen? Did that weather come in? And it did. It started last evening, and it blew through Michigan, and it is blowing through Michigan. Yesterday, there was snow falling, thunder and lightning at the same time, too. But we're not alone. The storm stretches all the way from New Mexico to Maine. There are blizzard warnings from Michigan and accumulations in Chicago of up to 2 feet. And we'd love to hear from you wherever you are this morning, so you can give us a firsthand account of the snow situation, whether it's in your driveway or whether you're on your way to work. You're going to try to get there. You got somewhere you have to go. We've had reports all morning long from various people across the state. We'll touch base with Bob Seelig from the Capital City Regional International Airport and find out how the flight situation is going in the capital, and also in Detroit and Grand Rapids as well. Massive snowfall totals expected across West Michigan, and the National Weather Service says it could be 16 inches of snow on the ground by tonight. Strong winds reducing visibility, causing snow drifts. The storm has forced dozens of schools and even universities like Grand Valley State and Michigan State University, Eastern Michigan University, Kalamazoo College to shut down. And the House and Senate down the street from where we're broadcasting in the Gillespie Group storefront studio is closed today and tomorrow. No business at the Michigan Capitol from the House of Representatives or the Senate. Lower Peninsula still getting slammed. Governor Snyder did activate the State Emergency Operations Center, and so schools shut down. And we're looking at, more trouble because even some of the deputies can't get on the road. Sheriff's Lieutenant Ron Gates in Kent County said the main roads are impassable. Deputies have been advised to be on the roads only as needed because 2 county cruisers had to be pulled out after being stuck in heavy snow. In Ottawa County overnight, more than 24 stuck or stranded motorists were trying to get help, but the way to use the most caution is to stay off of the roads. And this is at 9 minutes after 7 in the morning. As you're listening and wondering, the blizzard causing problems in West Michigan. It's the State Police Sergeant Tom Draves who cautions people against driving in this weather.
If you come upon an accident scene, move over into the other lane to give the emergency workers room so that we don't get other officers struck or vehicles involved in additional collisions.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is that John Hemholt, the Grand Rapids Public School spokesman, says, they weigh carefully these decisions about closing schools like that. They closed it quite early yesterday. Public transportation officials, cab drivers, meteorologists, all consulted with before schools are canceled.
Are the roads safe and traversable where our buses can get through and the kids and the families can get to school? We're going to look at student safety and the students' education as a top priority in making this decision.
So today you're looking at dropped reservations, depleted store shelves, canceled flights, delays in garbage pickup, all because of the wintry wallop. And, your day, even though most of the police and fire and courts are planning usual business, that may not be in practicality. the case. A Groundhog Day and frosty weather in Puxatawney, Pennsylvania. They are gathered right now at Gobbler's Knob all around the stage, and on the stage there's a tree stump. And from that, in about 15 minutes, the inner circle, the guys in the top hats and bow ties, will extricate. It's pretty much how it works. The groundhog, and come back and let us know. He'll read a proclamation in groundhogese. And wow, this is the 125th time this American tradition has taken place. So we'll bring you a live update from that. In fact, we'll listen in to Gobbler's Knob right now as to what's happening in the lead up. There's a lady on stage singing in front of a crowd.
Still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the
They're whooping it up in Gobbler's Knob. They're all dressed in...
that was outstanding.
Yeah, it was. In slickers and hats and coats. And some of them are swinging the terrible towel because it's in Pittsburgh and they're getting ready for the Super Bowl this weekend. We will continue to touch base with Gobbler's Knob, the home of Puxatawney Phil, the world capital of weather this morning. Amanda Wall, producer, is out and about trying to take the pulse of what's happening in the, let's say, Lansing area as a major fire truck just goes by right now. Amanda Wall, what do you know? What's the snow like?
Good morning, Michael Patrick. It is absolutely empty out here right now. I see one of the apartment complexes around got a little creative, and they put a snowplow on the front of a four-wheeler, and they're using that to kind of clear out some of the sidewalks. I'm standing kind of close to the highway right now by the wall on Jolly, and you can't even hear cars going over anymore. And normally it's pretty busy right there. It's blowing, it's cold, and there are quite a few snowdrifts around.
Yeah, that's the thing is, maybe we got 12 inches, as we heard from John McMurray earlier, but it could blow and drift. And Captain Kirk Squires is out with his plow truck, too, since 3 in the morning, trying to keep his friends clear. And your trip this morning to wherever it is, if you have to go, is going to take longer. There's no question about that. Thank you very much from that report, and keep in touch with us throughout the morning. That's Amanda Wall, producer, who's out there, and we'll hear from Kirk Squires again, too. Back to Puxatawney for just a moment as the members of the Inner Circle make their way to the stage. These are the fellas in the top hats and tuxedos, and once they get to the stage, then it becomes very serious. It becomes close to Puxatawney Phil time. 6 more weeks of winter or an early spring is at stake. It has been since 2007 that the groundhog predicted an early spring, so I'd say we're due, wouldn't you? And it's a late Easter this year, too. So we will see what they all have to say when they get there. Some of them have scarves, but they're all looking very natty this morning, the Inner Circle in Puxatawney, and that music is ushering them up to the stage. It looks like a prize fight when they make their way through the crowd and up onto that stage in the tree-filled Gobbler's Knob. Bob Selig, the head of the Capital Region International Airport, is with us this morning. Bob, I don't know if you're still home or if you've tried to get out and move around, and what's the situation at the airport, sir?
Well, I personally haven't started moving yet, but the airport is open and operational. The Detroit and Chicago, of course, are closed, and so we don't have any Delta or United flights today, but Sun Country is out there de-icing on their ramp right now. They're ready to head for Cancun.
And they have nonstops, so they don't have to go through Detroit or any other city, so it's no problem for them. As soon as they get up and out of here, the next time their wheels touch the ground, it's going to be sunny and warm in Mexico.
That's exactly right.
Why is it that that Lansing can stay open, but Detroit has to close?
Well, I think it's part of it is just the magnitude of the operation over there. and you know that the airlines these days, because of the requirements that Congress put on them about delays and holding people on aircraft for long periods of time, they have chosen to simply cancel the flights rather than risk federal fines.
All right. Well, I guess it's no fun being stuck. I remember one time in Detroit, I got de-iced, I think, 4 times waiting to take off. And it was a 3-hour sit before we made our way down to Orlando. That's no fun to be trapped on a plane like that. But we're glad to hear things are up and running at the Capital Region International Airport. And we will talk to you soon.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Bob Seelig, thank you very much. Back now to Punxsutawney, where there's a man in a top hat and a bow tie, and he's conducting, sort of emceeing Groundhog Day in Gobbler's Knob.
Jeff Grube, sky painter. This big gentleman is the big wind maker, Tom Uberti. Hailing from Buffalo, New York, Ed Chekolek, storm chaser. Our newest member, 4th generation member of the Inner Circle, A.J. DeRoom, Rain Man, also known as Sergeant Snowplow.
We need him in Michigan, Sergeant Snowplow. They're getting closer and closer to the big moment. The groundhog moment will happen in the next segment on this program. We'll also talk with Congressman Mike Rogers, the Republican. He's chair of the Intelligence Committee on the situation in Egypt. Stay tuned for that in 4 minutes. Back in a flash. Let's go live right now to Punxsutawney, where the members of the Inner Circle are extracting Punxsutawney Phil the Groundhog from his little tree trunk there, and we'll get the answer right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, Punxsutawney Phil!
There he is. The man in the top hat and tuxedo is holding the groundhog in front of the crowd, in front of the tree stump in Gobbler's Knob, surrounded by trees and snow. Groundhog is looking around, back and forth, and now he is hoisted up like the Lion King above everybody. And he looks pretty perky, the groundhog, this morning. And we'll get the result here. He's placed on a little stage now, a little platform on top of the tree stump. And he's very active. He's running all around, moving around. Very unusual for Punxsutawney Phil. They're examining his behavior.
Morning.
He's chewing, too. All right. Live coverage of groundhog emerging in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. Gobbler's Knob. And a crowd of men in top hats and tuxedos.
Okay, you're okay. Just get outside, Phil.
And now looks like they're about to make the announcement.
I have been instructed which scroll to read. It sure is cold. Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. On Gobbler's Knob, on this beautiful Groundhog Day, February 2nd, 2011, Punxsutawney Phil was raised from his burrow by the call of President Bill. He proclaimed, "The Steelers are going to the Super Bowl!"
Okay, we know that, Phil.
Back to the business at hand.
Thank you.
He surveyed his surroundings carefully and found that there was no shadow around. So an early spring it will be!
Hot dog!
The sky is clear. Prepare yourself for warmth.
They're chanting, "We love Phil. We love Phil." Well, there you have it. The groundhog, Puxatawny Phil, did not see his shadow, and therefore we're going to have an early spring. And we need it here today in Michigan when the blizzard is taking place. And Puxatawny Phil, after, what has it been, 3 years now, has said early spring. That's great news. That's telling me something good, Puxatawny Phil. Dr. Christine Teneglia, dentist to the stars. My wife is on the other end of our line. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Michael. I'm having a nice leisurely morning. I decided not to do my morning workout and just take it easy at our house. How was your evening and morning at the studio since you stayed the night there?
I'm actually in shock. At 6, I imagine that you would be out there running in the snow because you almost never miss that run, whether it's hail or sleet or snow or whatever. But today you decided to chill, huh?
I decided to do that and relax a little bit so I can hit it this afternoon.
When will you be taken to the roads?
I'm going to get on the road in about 15 minutes. My
Okay.
office is still open. We still have patients that are coming. We just decided to start a little later today. Instead of at 7 o'clock, we decided to start seeing patients at 9.
Okay, give us a ring and let us know what the road is like when you get out there. My night in the studio was fairly uneventful. I fell asleep and I woke up and I said, "Oh, here I am, ready to do the program." And I ran to the window to see, what did it look like? And I can see right on Michigan Avenue. And right now there's been almost no traffic, but the road looks clear except for the Saturn Vue that I'm driving, test driving for Cheryl Freebro, is sort of buried in, not on top, but all around it. There's no snow on top of the car, which I attribute to the wind and maybe the fact that the building is blocking it here. But there's a big pile of snow in front, in back, and on the roadside. So I don't know how I'm going to get it out, except that Kirk Squires, Captain Kirk, called, and he apparently has a truck with a plow on the front, and he's going to come and save me.
Well, that's a good thing. Your listeners are sure lucky because you're so dedicated that to give them a good show on this crazy morning, to stay the night at the studio and be ready to go at 5 o'clock in the morning.
No, I wanted to make sure I could get here because, it wouldn't be fun for people to wake up because they're all wondering what's it like around the state, and that's what we're trying to do this morning is provide a how bad is it report. So ring us back after your drive and let us know how that little trip down Okemos Road is. Thank you very much, and drive safely, darling.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
28 minutes after the hour right now, Michael Patrick Shields, they're still whooping it up there in Gobbler's Knob. The headline this morning, other than the fact that we're all digging out, is that it'll be an early spring, according to Puxatawny Phil. The Red Wings visit the Senators in Ottawa. That's their first game tonight after the All-Star break, and Dan Cleary's going to play. He hasn't been on the ice since the 22nd when he broke his ankle. Let's go immediately to Detroit Airport, and that's Metropolitan International Airport. Scott Wintner is with us now for a report on what's happening, because we have obviously radio stations in Grand Rapids and Traverse City and Flint and Saginaw and over there, of course, in Lansing, but a lot of them feed right through Detroit Airport. So, Scott, what's the situation in Romulus?
Sure. Well, we like to think of ourselves as sort of the airport for the state, and I think that the biggest challenge today is going to be the roads getting to and from Metro Airport. We're operating at full capacity. We've got our crews have been working incredibly well with limited resources, keeping all the runways open and the ramps cleared. A lot of airlines have canceled flights, though, and that's somewhat preemptively to make sure that we're able to fit those flights that are going through a narrower pipe, if you will, today, and also so that folks who are going to have their flight canceled know about it while they're still safe and comfortable at home rather than after they've made the trek all the way out to Metro.
So technically, then, the airport is open.
Absolutely, yes. We've actually, the last time the Detroit Metro Airport closed was 9/11, and that was clearly for a very different reason. None of us who are here can remember in any of our memories the last time that the airport actually closed. So we're open as we always have been.
Having said that, it makes sense, right, to check ahead if you do have a flight that's either originating in Detroit, coming to Detroit, or passing through Detroit.
Absolutely, and there certainly have been a fair number of cancellations. We're looking at about, we're probably going to be operating at about a 50% schedule today.
Okay.
And again, that's largely preemptive by the airlines, which has been fantastic for everyone, really. It allows folks to know what's going to happen before they even bother with the roads. And it also helps us because we can then devote the resources we have to those limited flights that are flying out. So definitely check with your airline and do so via their website is really the best way to reach them. The phone lines get so bogged down on days like today. Check with your airline in advance, make sure everything's still going on time before you head down to Metro.
I will be flying to Florida on Spirit Friday. I'll be clear by then, won't I?
Hopefully, yeah. Don't you might want to put a shovel in your in your trunk just to be safe. But no, as long as you can make it here by Friday, we should be moving smoothly. Fortunately, it's sort of the low season right now for travel. So while that's a little consolation to the thousands of travelers who are trying to get out to someplace warmer today, we're in between the holiday rush and the spring break rush. So we've had more empty seats and a lot more wiggle room than we saw around the holidays, which is helpful for folks who did miss their flight or whose flights were canceled. They'll be able to be reaccommodated much more easily.
You know, you talk about wiggle room. I was on a flight from Denver to Detroit on Sunday, and I decided to get on board last because I had no carry-on luggage. And by the way, that's how I roll now. I try to take no carry-ons because it's so much more pleasant to just walk through the airport and sit down. So I waited to be the last aboard. I was in the 8th row, so it was no problem. But when I got there was a fella in the middle seat, and he was wearing a University of Michigan cap, and he had clearly set up shop in the middle seat. You know what I mean? And he had his elbows on both armrests and the newspaper wide open. And he had staked his claim. He wasn't budging. You know what I mean? So I had to sort of hang out in the aisle and keep my arms crossed and all that. I think it's fair. I ought to have a shot at the armrest, even though I got there after him. You get essentially one armrest, right? You can't have them both.
Well, it's a tricky situation. Sounds like you handled it well. I've been a victim of that myself too, and it's one of those days when you wish everyone learned the same lessons on how to play nice in the sandbox when you were a kid. But it's as I said, it's as long as everyone makes it to their destination safely. In my view, it's a win. But it's a tough situation for sure.
I figure my only revenge is if he had to get up to go to the bathroom, I'd just pretend I was sleeping. But anyway, can't we all just get along?
Seriously, it's
50% today, so call ahead, and thank you very much for checking in with us. We sure appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Good luck.
Scott Wintner, the Director of Public Affairs at Detroit Metropolitan Airport at 33 minutes after. I started to give you the sports. The Spartans are going to play at Iowa tonight, and University of Michigan's going to leave early if they haven't left already for Columbus. They've got the game there tomorrow night against the number 1 ranked undefeated Buckeyes. Maybe the Wolverines, who've been spoilers this year, can upend the Buckeye Express. Pistons return to the court tonight. They host the Charlotte Bobcats at the Palace. Detroit's lost 3 in a row. Ben Wall is questionable for the game. The Tigers are not going to bring Jeremy Bonderman back in 2011. That's it. They will not sign him. And so spring training games for the Tigers begin February 27th, and if the groundhog saying that we're going to have an early spring doesn't make you feel warm, the thought of the green fields of Lakeland, Florida, and the white uniforms of the Detroit Tigers under the sun in the Grapefruit League ought to do just that for you. The Super Bowl Media Day was yesterday. That always brings together some interesting, really curious situations with reporters from all over the world. Some of them are dressed up in costumes. Some of them ask crazy questions. And yesterday it was Ben Roethlisberger, the Steelers quarterback, who apparently sat down with Terry Bradshaw, the old star quarterback of the Steelers, because Bradshaw was very critical of Roethlisberger's behavior publicly. And so they got together and buried the hatchet. We'll hear that audio coming up shortly. 35 minutes after the hour, Michael Patrick Shields. Call us, please, if you're on the road and can give us a report at 888-900-9966. 888-900-9966. We're looking forward to hearing from you all over the state.
And the leaves are rustling.
That Tony Cuthbert, our audio director, has some sense of humor playing Let It Snow. Some people are saying Let It Stop. In Chicago especially, where they got 24 inches, and a piece of a structural panel from the roof of Wrigley Field broke away during the blizzard, according to reports. A section of the roof above the press box, it's a 97-year-old ballpark, came loose in the severe winds and scattered debris. It's a fiberboard broke off the roof, and the Cubs are monitoring the situation. No public safety issue there involved, except a damage to the old girl, the Wrigley Field there. Now it's been a tough year for stadiums, hasn't it, in Minnesota and also in Chicago. 20 minutes before the hour, Andy Hetzel is with us from Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan. No joke, everybody ran to their windows this morning, I think, Andy, to see just how bad it really was. And some of them are out there about to take the shovel right about now. And there's some real health considerations that come into a blizzard like this.
Good morning, Michael, and there sure are. And we're encouraging people to be very careful with their own personal safety this morning as they go out and try to clean up around their homes and try to get off to work if indeed they're going to work today. People should check with their doctor, especially if they've had heart-related conditions in the past. Certainly dress appropriately, which means layer your clothing. Make sure that the hat that you're wearing doesn't cover your eyes. There's some slick spots out there and some ice that can lead to slipping, and we certainly don't want people to fall when they're shoveling. And again, warm up your muscles and, try to clear, a little bit of snow at a time, take a break. But the most important thing is to, stay hydrated, and if you feel any weakness at all or any sort of pain in your chest, absolutely stop what you're doing. Call your doctor or call 911 if you feel it's serious enough. It's such a tragedy, Michael. Every year when there's a heavy snow, we hear of at least one or two people who go out with the best of intentions to shovel and clear snow, and they don't come back from that activity. We want people of Michigan to be safe this morning as they clear up.
We call it the white fluffy stuff, but the snow is heavy, isn't it?
It is heavy, and that's why, I have to go out and shovel this morning myself, and, we don't have a snow blower here. I always use my legs to lift, and I always take frequent breaks, and we're encouraging everybody to do that. Just another note, Michael, there are a lot of businesses that are closed across Michigan this morning. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan has determined that we are going to remain open today, but that doesn't mean that our service operations are 100% right out of the gate. We're encouraging our employees to be safe themselves, to take extra consideration and caution when coming into work at our facilities across Michigan. So if people want to call us early in the morning, they could expect those operations not to be at 100% first thing in the morning, even though we are open, because we're going to see a trickle in of folks this morning, and just want people's understanding, but we also want people to know that we are open for business.
Have you been out on the road yet? I know you said you shoveled.
No, I have not driven. I live down in Plymouth in western Wayne County, and we got about 7 inches last night. So it's, it's not the kind of snowfall that can't be overcome, and I'm sure that the road crews that have been out all night working hard are doing a great job. But no, I have not been out.
Yeah, well, drive safely when you do, and there are some people who always make sure in their car, in their vehicle, that they bring extra blankets and maybe a shovel if you need it, and also food items, water, that kind of thing, in case you were to slide into a ditch and get stuck somewhere. Because there were lots of cars last night, especially in West Michigan, that were stuck, and even the sheriff's deputies couldn't get to them because the conditions were so bad.
Yeah, all good advice, and people should just take extra caution, and that's, again, what we're encouraging our employees to do as they come into work today.
All right, thank you very much. Now, I know a part of the Blues plan has the ability to call a nurse at any time, 24/7. Which function is that, and what's the phone number?
I don't have the phone number right off the top of my head, but it's called Blue Health Connection, and our members, Blue Cross members, can go to bcbsm.com and look for Blue Health Connection online. We do have a 24/7 nurse hotline. We think it's important to maintain that kind of connectivity with our members, where we can offer them advice on what's happening in their lives, if they have a sick child in the middle of the night, or if they have a wellness program that they're involved with that they need advice on. We're pleased to offer that kind of service. It's all part of keeping Michigan healthier, Michael. That's what we're all about at Blue Cross.
Yeah, we have a big blanket of snow, but it's nice to have that security blanket that the Blues provide access like that 24/7. And as Andy says, don't take any chances if you are shoveling snow. It's about 20 pounds for a full shovel full of snow. And if you're not used to that kind of thing, you feel the least bit awkward. Call your doctor immediately. Otherwise, it's bcbsm.com. That stands for Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan. .com. And thank you very much for the warning this morning, and travel safely there in Plymouth.
Thank you, Michael. Happy Groundhog Day. I hear it's going to be an early spring.
Yeah, wasn't that great news? Now, there's something that'll make you feel good. An early spring. We had live coverage from Puxatawney, and it's been like 3 years since we've had that prognostication, so we're smiling this morning about that.
Absolutely.
All right, Andy Hetzel, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan. When we get back, we're going to go live to Dallas, where the Super Bowl activities are going on, and find out just how solid this weather prediction is of an early spring. Stay tuned for that. It's Michael Patrick Shields all across Michigan. Well, we heard just a few minutes ago that Puxatawney Phil has predicted on this Groundhog Day an early spring. Tom Benson is with us, a meteorologist and the communications manager of the Tennessee Aquarium. Happy Groundhog Day to you, sir.
Well, happy Groundhog Day to you. We're having a little bit of chilly weather here, but I understand you guys are really getting blasted.
Yeah, it's our first real winter blast of the year. We've been laughing at Atlanta and New York and the other places that have been getting snow, but they're making up for it now here, with lots and lots of blizzard conditions across the state. You were a TV meteorologist for 20 years, and I'm wondering, when you see this much ado about the groundhog, does it sort of offend you that we're looking to animals for weather advice when you're a scientist?
No, not at all. Because it's just fun, and some of it is actually rooted in science. I think the Old Farmer's Almanac attributed a newspaperman from Pennsylvania as the first report of Groundhog Day celebrations in Pennsylvania back in 1887. But 4 years prior to that, the forerunner to the National Weather Service, which was the U.S. Signal Service, which later became the U.S. Weather Bureau, or the Weather Service, was looking at weather folklore. And the backstory on that was Brigadier General William B. Hazen, who rose to fame in the Civil War, was a decorated general, went over to Europe to study German war tactics during the Franco-Prussian War. And while he was over there, he was aware of the fact that European meteorologists were studying weather folklore to advance the science of the day. So when he came back to the United States and was later became the chief of the Signal Service, he said, European meteorologists have been studying this for some time. Maybe we should be looking at it. So he put out a national call for weather folklore. And the result was a wealth of weather folklore related to nature. And it was an official War Department document called Signal Service Notes No. 9, Weather Proverbs, back in 1883. And, it's just interesting that there are all of these different animals in American folklore that have weather proverbs. The groundhog, of course, is probably best well known. But a lot of your folks may be aware of the fishing ones. Fish bite the least when the wind is in the east, or trout bite voraciously before a rain. And when trout refuse bait or fly, there ever is a storm nigh. And so, there's all these other animals. So when I came to the aquarium and, we added a groundhog to our Animal Encounters program, I thought, let's do some fun things during February and look at the other animals that are here at the aquarium and the weather folklore. Have our biologists go through some of these and see which ones are rooted in weather fact and which ones are purely weather fiction.
So there are some animals that can predict the weather.
Yeah, well, sure, short term, because keep in mind that all animals are responding to changes in nature because they have these special adaptations that help them sense the natural world, and their survival depends on that. So if you are a bird, for example, your feathers are very important to you, so you preen constantly. But if the humidity rises to a certain point, you may be preening more and become a little bit more agitated as that happens. And so, people had noticed that parrots, for example, would dress their feathers and become more wakeful before a storm. And we have certainly seen that with our hyacinth macaws, and perhaps some of your listeners that are bird keepers or maybe backyard naturalists observe some of this behavior in their own backyard. One of my favorites is about frogs, and it's the louder the frogs, the more's the rain. And our herpetologists say that that's true. While individual frogs don't call more loudly, these are animals that are stimulated by, increases in humidity. Higher rain chances create conditions that are favorable for these frogs to begin calling more and more. We've got a flying squirrel, and what the folklore is when flying squirrels sing in midwinter, it'll be in early spring. And our animal experts here at the aquarium say there's some truth to that. Flying squirrels only call for one of two reasons, either to establish territory or to attract a mate. So if there's a warm spell in the middle of winter, it could be that a few flying squirrels get a little amorous and start calling for a mate.
I've been lucky to play golf at a place called Lahinch in Western Ireland in County Clare. And I'll be back there again for St. Patrick's Day this year, in fact. And at Lahinch Golf Club, there's a barometer in the clubhouse, and the hands have fallen off the barometer. Rather than replace the hands, they wrote on there, "See goats," because there are these big goats at Lahinch that roam the course. And if they're under the clubhouse shelter, they're going to get some rain. That's just the way it goes. And they're legendary at that golf club.
Well, and, all of these animals, again, are responding to those changes in atmosphere. It could be that they're responding to pressure changes. One of them, weather folklore that was collected in that book from 1883, if eels are very lively, it's a sign of rain. And freshwater eels would probably respond to barometric pressure changes much the same way that trout or sport fish would. But moray eels and some of the saltwater creatures that are farther down in the water column wouldn't experience as much of a change, but they would experience some of the changes in ocean currents that would change their behavior. Up in your neck of the woods, one that was associated with the Chippewa Indians had to do with trout moving into deeper water. It says in the northern lakes of the United States, whitefish and lake trout leave reefs for deep water 1 month earlier in stormy falls than in mild, calm falls with little wind.
So we can believe it will be in early spring?
Chattanooga Chuck saw his shadow this morning, so he's predicting 6 more weeks of winter down this way.
Chattanooga Chuck for Puxatawney Phil, and remember, only mad dogs and Englishmen go out in the noonday sun. Thank you very much. Hello to Tennessee. Tom Benson there, the meteorologist at the Tennessee Aquarium. Television viewers, thanks for being with us this morning. Radio listeners, stay right where you are. There's another hour of this all across Michigan. I'm Michael Patrick Shields.